YouTube. Ben and TJ back again with some Matchplay commentary. TJ, if you want to say hi.
Hi.
Sorry the content's a little bit delayed. I was out of town, so kind of got wrapped up with a little bit, but we hope to be able to get some of these videos out for you over this next week. We have a lot of videos coming up, so hopefully you guys can enjoy the set of commentary that we have going for you. Round 1 is going to be Jesmon, which is going to be played by Jarrell on the left, and Hunters, which is going to be played by RB on the right. There will be a total of 4 rounds to this set of locals, and links to each subsequent round will be in the video description below. So if you want to keep checking out up until the end, until the finals match, they'll be there for you. Like I said, hope you guys enjoy it. We really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving this series, so hopefully we can keep this going for y'all. So without further ado, let's hop right into round 1. Right.
Something I'm realizing now that I wasn't thinking about before is this is a clash of titans. This is 2 other members of Hyper Coliseum.
That is true. That is true.
Going head to head.
And both very good pilots of their respective decks.
Yes.
Jarrell, we have seen in previous commentary videos, just absolutely cooking with this list. And
Yep.
RB
His
is a
list is
very
terrifying.
good Hunters player.
And his Hunters list is terrifying. Dude, I get so nervous when I play RB. I've come to the realization that I lose feeling in my left hand, which I know is not healthy. It's not good. But my hand locks up. It's scary for me.
So turn 1 for RB, goes Gumdra in the back, plays out a Watchmaker to pick up a Taiki and Gumdra, looks like.
Yeah.
So not a bad start. And Jarrell just starts to climb into his line and plays out a Blanc, which will allow him to pitch 1 and draw 2.
Yep.
RB swings.
It's kind of crazy how just good generically those sisters are for just Royal Knight decks in general. Like they're just so they're very, very good support for those decks. I wish we had other Royal Knights that worked with them a bit more. RB plays on Taiki as a Digimon, then realizes it's a tamer.
Sister swings and lives because it hits an Ikaki Insecurity, and then Jarrell passes turn by going in a Savior Huck. RB chooses to tuck a Drake in the back under Taiki to draw, then goes into a Psych.
RB has a pretty good hand here, just sort of trying to debate what he wants to do right now. Gonna play the Gumdra,
which will allow him to tuck a Source underneath one of his tails.
Yep, and then you can draw a card. G finds a Dame, looks like.
Reduces cost to 1 to choke, which is great. And then it's a Taiki off a Dame. So not a bad start for RB here.
No,
able to get Tamers out very efficiently, gets a body out on board, and looks like he's been able to do a decent amount of digging. But here we go. Jarrell plays out plays out his CL, which will let him gain a memory just by on play, and then the inheritables of the 2 lines will gain him 2. Will allow him to digivolve into Jesmon X, which allows him to play out another Sistermon CL, which gains him another memory. He is missing a GX, but he's still able to swing, which will then resolve Savior Huck's effect to play out another sister.
Yeah, it just, man, we don't stop. It doesn't stop at all. The train keeps going. So Jesmon caboose.
Yeah, he does play out the CL that gives reboot, which is nice with that GX not being able to, kind of vulnerable right there with sort of like a somewhat naked line. And he's able to search, Okay,
RB sort of trying to decide. Or no, it's still Dresden, sorry.
And he goes ahead and plays the Blanc to draw 1, and he's got a ton of blockers on board now. So
yeah, that Blanc gives all of his sisters blocker, and they all get their DP buff from Jess X.
And CL too, right? Because CL should be giving them plus 2K.
Well, CL gives
just the
Royal Knight or Huckmon in name plus 2K.
So here RB decides to think a little bit, and you'll notice this with him and any other Hunters player, is that the timing of your tucks is important, you know? So when you start main phase, you push up, that's when you have to decide whether you tuck or not. If you miss that, that's technically you're misplaying there. You're not able to like do stuff and then tuck. So that's why RB will usually take some time. He'll like make that decision to push out. If you play against him in person, he'll verbalize it just to remind himself to do it, which I think is a smart thing. Just to kind of make sure he doesn't miss that effect. He goes into Dame for a reduced cost by tapping both Taikis, slipping sources underneath. Unfortunately, Dame whiffs.
Play. Yeah, you saw a Watchmaker, but unfortunately you cannot play Watchmaker off Dame. He has a lot of draw inheritables though, which is good, so that can hopefully get him some consistency. The opposite swing. Yeah, something RB's been doing. He's talked to me about this before too, where he's been a lot more consistent on calling out and sort of listing out his effects and checking boards, because he like the rest of us is hoping that as we get further away from COVID and things calm down a bit more, hopefully we can start seeing more in-person regionals in other cities, not just in California, basically. Obviously California's not a city, but you know, because that's pretty much the only place where they do in-person regionals is other cities within Cali. And we're hoping that we get some of those in the Chicagoland area, you know, New York, like East Coast, New York, stuff like that. Like one day. That's the hope, man.
We'll get there.
We get there.
Right now, you can see that spicy Congo tech in his hand, which I really like. Yeah. I think he's debating whether or not to play that Congo now or try to maybe climb up and DP or like get to a combined DP to delete. Unfortunately, Jarrell's sisters are buffed, so he's not going to get a lot of benefit from that Omni Shout deletion effect. So I think he's just debating what to do. He goes out to play a U3.
Yep. Still trying to consider what he wants to do.
He's just in a pretty rough spot right now. He does go into superior mode. He will tap you to make it a 3-cost Digivolution. Gives a blocker inheritable with Dame and tucks the Jesmon X Antibody underneath the Sister Mon Blanc.
Yeah, it does do
two checks.
Thanks to the Watchmaker.
Hits the Judgment of the Blade, which allows him to play out a CL.
Yeah. Jarrell's been talking about that tech. Apparently it did come up during this night of locals once or twice. It seems like it's pretty good. I think he only runs that like 1 or 2 right now, because I mean deck space for Jesmon is extremely tight.
Yeah.
But he is liking it, from what I understand.
Yeah, and right now RB's just getting Sistermon rushed.
Yeah, there's not much he can do there.
Yeah, he's got 1 blocker on board, but that's it.
I think Congo is definitely the better play he had, but he was worried about a GX coming out maybe, or Chimera plays, so he opted to get rid of the stack and then set up his superior mode. But you know, it's how it goes sometimes. It's just sometimes you just can't do anything about a board state. It's just too crazy.
Especially with how quickly Jess can not just climb into a big body, but just wide board. Sometimes you blink and there's 5 sisters on board, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, right? Like so many, I think this is one thing that makes Jess still very competitive, especially with how you can build it right now, and with how you're going to be able to build it coming up with the restrictions and everything. Most decks that wide board only wide board, or they build like a moderately tall stack, right? Sure. Or, you know, vice versa. Some decks that build tall stacks will maybe spit out a body or 2. Jesmon does both at the most extreme level, where you'll get this 20k plus level 7 Digimon that has like 5 keywords, is swinging for anywhere from at least 3 checks to 5 checks, that also is going to spit out like 4 other bodies in 1 turn. And now with the new inheritables, can potentially set your opponent to like 3 if you're working from like 2. It's insane.
I mean, and the synergy that the deck has with a lot of its pieces, you know, setting up your trash with your sisters and your royal, like, you know, your Genkus and whatnot, and being able to do so much, it's just so much more efficient than it was back in like BT6, BT8. You know?
Absolutely, yes. It's gotten more and more pieces that it needed. The structure decks definitely, I think, have helped a lot, and then just newer pieces, BT13.
You see RB here swinging with jamming Dame.
Yep.
And then goes out and plays a Watchmaker for 3 to put Jarrell to 1.
If I has a piece off of it. Jarrell's now just searching, plays his Master Disciple. Goes to Genku X, trashes the rest. Passes it back over to RB, who's just going to hatch and is looking through his hand, considering his options.
Goes ahead, swings with Psychmon, does die to a sister. So I think you pointed this out before too with Monimon, you know, making sure you draw before you tuck.
Yeah, you can see RB there. Made sure he properly sequenced the effects to make sure that he wouldn't miss the window to draw from Moni, because if you do tuck a source before drawing off of Moni when that body's deleted, you technically miss the window to draw a card off of Monimon because the inheritable goes bye-bye because it doesn't see the, like, it was there, like the Evo was there.
Right, so he goes ahead to pass turn with a Shout King version with, I believe, a Dame underneath. Sorry for the glare there. But he does play out a Taguru, so he's guaranteed 3 memory next turn. And with the situation at hand, I think Jarrell's sort of forced to do something. So he does crack the From Master to Disciple, plays out a Sister to go into Jess X for a cost of 1, which allows him to play a CL, which will gain him back 1 memory, but then he goes straight into GX, which will allow him to tuck the previous Genku, which then will allow him to spit out another Sister.
Yeah,
and
that
then
still gives a memory.
Yeah. And then he will probably swing through the Dame with Piercing.
Yeah. When attacking effect, he can play a Sister, so he's trying to see which one he wants to play. Plays the block, that gets him on play draw 1 and gives the rest of his Sisters blocker, and we're just looking at a very, very
big stack for 3 checks.
Scary board state. Yeah.
So unfortunate for RB, just keeps not hitting any Tamers in security. It's just all Digimon, which is rough as a Hunters player. I mean, that's just, sometimes you do have to rely on a little bit of luck in security, and I think RB is just very unlucky right now.
Yeah, he's not seeing what he needs. He's trying to consider what he wants to do about everything.
He does play out the Shout King, plays out a Taiki, which will allow him to go into Omni Shout. He doesn't get a whole lot of benefit from it at first, if you think about it from just a purely Sistermon perspective, just because it's so buffed up with his Jess X and his Genku effects.
Yeah,
so
everything is. I think his Blancs are 7K.
The highest RB is able to delete at the moment with the sources that Omnishout has in his inheritables would be 10K total, because he's got a total of 4 inheritable sources. So he's baseline 4. You add 3K for every 2, so he's only able to go up to 10. So he's not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage Sistermon wise. And does choose to go into Quartz. Which would suspend everybody, including Tamers, and puts Jarrell to 3. And we were talking about this before, like, at that moment, I think RB's sort of experience with the deck probably paid off. I think in my mind, I probably would have just popped, like, a blocker CL or blocker Sistermon or one of the sisters to just do what I can. But I think RB was intentionally doing that, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but to keep another body on board to help make Quartz a little bit more efficient and do what he wants to do, which is an excellent play. Yeah.
So now Jarrell's trying to decide what he wants to do against this. He doesn't really have a great out to Quartz, it looks like, in hand at the moment, so he's kind of just trying to find some pieces to see if he can get something to help him with it. Does play the block that lets him trash a card to draw 2. RB starts tucking some sources, trying to consider what he wants to do. There's 10 cards on board that are all suspended. That's all he needed, and he just
another thing too, because I think, unfortunately for Jarrell, playing that sister puts him right at 10.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, again, this is all easy for us to say just watching this, but like if maybe just like Digivolved in the back, RB still would be missing that one last check potentially.
But even then too, it's a hard board state to be into, because Jesmon doesn't have many when Digivolving deletion effects. It's all like they want to swing at something. So ideally he needs to see a Jesmon X and hopefully then GX, and then or have enough DP to just swing over Quartz.
Or Chimera, it would be, I think, another out potentially to get like an extra check in if he's able to do that.
Yeah, Chimera would let him unsuspend.
But yeah, I think a good round from RB. He's able to kind of sneak through it, even though he didn't have like the most optimal sort of pieces to work with there.
RB doing a quick pile shuffle here. I think he was actually talking to me at this point because I was right next to RB. I was right above him there on the camera here, and he was saying, he's like, I need to shuffle this fucking deck because I keep not seeing Tamers coming out of security. So I think he was hoping that maybe he was just in a bad shuffle state and was trying to pile shuffle and then do a few mass shuffles, just try and reset that deck luck, you know?
Yeah. But we're going into game 3. So both very good matches so far. Let's see who pulls it out.
RB grabs one extra card on accident, so just bottom decks it.
Those sleeves are so nice.
Yeah. I'm going log on, dude. It's such a good show. Such good sleeves. He opts to mulligan, looks like, because he does not like what he has in hand. Oh. Man. I get so scared when I play Jesmon. When I play RB. I'm thinking about my fear. I'm just looking at these two decks, and I'm like, this is trauma for me right now.
So looks like RB's gonna kick it off. He hatches a Moni and chooses to kind of do a typical Hunter's play. Shout King to play out a Tagiru. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he has the draw inheritable. He just has to burn an Omni Shout.
Yeah.
Which is a bit rough.
He had a rough opening hand in general. Jarrell is going to do the classic Master to Disciple to Master to Disciple combo. Where reveals one of them and then grabs one off of it.
RB goes ahead and plays a Watchmaker to pick up a Damemon.
Yeah, which does not really help him in this situation. Opts to go into Omni Shout on the board, just trying an extra draw and set himself up.
Yeah, that seems like a rough start for RB. I mean, he does have a level 5 out on the board that can maybe do some early chip damage, but I mean, once it gets deleted, unfortunately, his sources don't save off the level 5s. No. So he's kind of stuck here. Jarrell goes ahead. Another from Master to Disciple. Yep. Plays it again. So he's just cycling. He is cycling.
Yeah, it's scary. RB finally sees a rookie. He does have a Quartz in hand, so I think he's wanting to leave the Shout on board for a Quartz play. I think that's his idea. I think he's considering.
I mean, that's just a scary thing. Like, if I'm RB and I look over at Jarrell's side, I mean, we know he picked up a GX. He has 3 from Master to Disciples ready to go, locked and loaded. Yep. He's already got a level 4. So, like, and his trash is all set up too. I mean, Master to Disciples sets everything up perfectly for him as well. So that's just the scary thing to look over.
He's been loading his trash. He's got a decent hand size. He's got a Bowhuck in the back. Like he's cooked. He's ready to go.
Yeah. So has to play another Watchmaker.
Yeah, does find a Shoutmon. He went Dame in the back earlier, which is interesting, but I think he just wants to have like a body ready to go for a retaliation play.
Yeah. Even I think right there we see RB just face of pain. He knows what's coming.
He sees Jarrell doing the math, and he is prepared for the pain that Jesmon brings.
So he decides to push up. Before he does his thing, he pops both or all 3 to go into Savior Huck, which allows him to play out a CL, allowing him to pay the cost, going to the Jesmon X antibody. And here it begins.
Yep. Combos for days. Jarrell sort of trying to consider how he wants to properly structure this, and Jesmon is like probably the closest thing to a Yu-Gi-Oh deck in terms of how it combos so crazily, like next to like Beelzemon maybe.
Sure.
Where it's like you do one thing into another thing into another thing, and you get like those crazy chains that go on for like a minute. And Jarrell is definitely a master of just knowing them off the top of his head and then being able to sort of just identify what's the best chain pretty quickly.
So he does swing into RB's body. Does have Pierce?
Yeah. Jesmon X does have piercing.
So there's piercing. Gets that check out of the way and unsuspends off of Savior Huck. But now unrestricted Savior Huck.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I think to your point too, like we see this on cam, and Jarrell makes it look absolutely smooth with how he's just stringing these things off. But there is a lot of thought to this.
Yeah.
I have spared you guys from my Jesmon matches where I don't know the combos as well, and I'm just like lumbering through, and I'm like, oh, I think I did that too early. Or I did that too late. So Jarrell is definitely a well-oiled machine when it comes to doing all this, and it's very well calculated. You know, each step is very well thought out on his end. So does pass over 4 memory to RB. So RB does have potential outs, you know, if he has the right pieces. It just doesn't seem like he has it right now, though. He decides to go ahead and swing with Dame to get the draw in. Jarrell will choose to block with Sister CL. He's able to save a piece under Watchmaker.
I'm going to try and work with something with one security.
Yeah.
He's trying to see what he wants to do. He's just thinking. Lost in the thought sauce, which it happens. It happens to all of us, man. Where we constantly look at our hands, just trying to see if we can see that right card that we know that we can make a play with, or
just will it into existence.
Yeah, manifest the card and try and see if it can work out. But he plays the psych.
Using a U.
Yeah, using a U. Realizes it after Jarrell calls it out. Slides the Clockmon under. Digivolves up into a Shoutmon.
For 1 by tapping Tiger.
Yeah, almost trashes the psych there, but Jarrell corrects him because RB's just sort of, I think RB's a bit flustered at the moment. And he realizes, he's like, he calls it because he knows he's got no way out of this. He was trying to hope for a way to find a way to go into quartz there, it looks like, but no cigar, unfortunately.
I mean, I think we see this a lot with, like, almost any deck in the game, right? But I think particularly with Hunters, it's like, if you don't see your pieces, you don't see your Tamers in particular, like, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's really not a whole lot you can do against a board like that if you just don't have the pieces that you need, and RB was just... Yeah, it was a struggle, you know, especially when Jarrell has that tempo to get into the body so fast. Like, there's just nothing you can do.
I think RB saw a single Tamer come out of security all 3 matches.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
I think every Tamer that was on his board, he was playing himself. He did not have a single, like, drop of good luck in his security. That was rough.
Yeah. So, Jesmon does take it in 3. Very good matches, I think, overall, though. I mean, outside of a bit of bad luck and a little bit of bricking on RB's end, but I think overall we saw 2 really good players kind of showcase their decks. Jesmon takes it. We'll move on to round 2 in a quick second. Like I said, the links will be in the description down below to rounds 2, 3, and 4 this week. So we got a lot of content ready for you, guys, ready to go. And we will catch ya on the next one. See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.